Hey guys, and welcome to the Forza Racing World Championship preview show. I'm Kate Osborne, and we've just wrapped here in Mexico at our Season 2 playoffs. I want to let you know that unfortunately I cannot make the World Finals in London, but the lovely Lottie Van-Praag has you covered and will be guiding you through all of the action. From me, thanks for such an exciting and adrenaline-filled year so far. Lottie, over to you in London.
Thanks, Kate, and that's right. We are racing to the finish line, and that line is right here in London, England. In less than 10 days, 24 of the best drivers from around the world will descend on London to this very arena. But only one driver will truly be left holding their head high and waving a check for a cool $20,000. Every single one of them believes that they have it in them. Time to put it to the test. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Forza Racing World Championship preview show. I am Lottie Van-Praag, and joining me for this show are two very familiar faces. It's Alie Tacq and Andy Berg, or better known as Flip Mode. Gentlemen, welcome to London, welcome to the Gfinity Arena. Lovely to have you. It's been a couple of weeks since Mexico. Alie, how was your Mexico experience?
Yeah, I had a great time in Mexico. Some great racing, some good food as well, which is always an added bonus for me at least.
You love your food, mate. You love your food. Flip, how are you, mate? How are you?
Oh, I'm just so excited to be here. I think this is, what, the third country? We're officially on 2 continents now. It's the Forza Racing World Championships.
How was being in Mexico?
You know, but that elevation change, it impacted me. I bet it definitely impacted the drivers as well. It was awful good, great time to be there, and it was just a great experience.
Fantastic. Well, we've had some incredible moments from Mexico, and one in particular I just want to quickly say was obviously Liège and Box, and that versus and what it was down to. It was down to the wire. Any exciting moment from you for that final?
Wow, there were so many exciting moments in the final. You know, I loved watching racers come through in the semi-finals. That was really exciting. That was a good story. In the finals themselves, Box also did a great job there, and watching him through there, and his battle with Liège, especially at Silverstone, was one that I'll remember, I think, for some time.
You'll take Season 2, I'll take Season 1. I'm going to go back to Seattle in the playoffs. There was an incident where a Roadrunner, I believe, went wide at Arnage and hit a tire wall and effectively ruined his chances at taking the championship. And there was a moment we got on camera, Box went like that, and he knew it. And it was in that instant, it was just magic.
Fantastic. Well, before we look forward to the World Finals, it's important we look back on how we got to this point. Our 2018 Racing Championship has lived up to the hype, and it's not left us disappointed. This is the story of the year. Enjoy. With over 100,000 competitors throwing their hats into the ring, this year's Forza RC has been bigger and better than ever.
There is your podium, gentlemen.
At the top of the field, we've seen new names emerge, and old hands show that they've still got the skills to compete.
JSR Rossi, his 3rd win ever, and incredible victories.
But while the online competition has taken drivers to the edge of their abilities, the offline events have taken them around the world. First Seattle, then Mexico City, and in a short few days, the Gfinity Arena in London. Surely the story of the first half of the season, Box entered 2018 vowing not to be overshadowed as in previous years.
And Box is the main man up front.
A new training regime, a new competitive mindset, and a place in the world-class Noble Esports stable clearly meant the world to him.
Can Box hold on? That's the big question.
However, it wasn't all rainbows and sunshine, and he certainly made some rivals along the way.
Roadrunner trying to throw it in on the inside, little lockup.
But Box went on to take his first Forza RC tournament victory in the Series 1 playoffs in Seattle.
Your champion, Noble Box. What a performance from him.
For many, the hot pick for this year's Forza RC has been a new name in the competition.
Mitch in his first ever Forza Racing Championship, leading the race here.
After some impressive drives, an amazing maiden win at VIR and a 3rd place finish at Seattle playoffs, Mitch moved from Jap Speed Racing to the Williams team for the second half of 2018.
On the outside for Liège, maybe losing a couple of hundreds there on Mitch.
With his pace only improving, this is a driver who seems earmarked for victory at some stage.
There, Mitch is going to the inside. Can he make this stick?
Even if he had to settle for the 3rd step on the podium once again at the Mexico City playoffs.
Liege, the driver's driver, has had difficulty adapting to the new Forza RC format in 2018.
Liege very deep there on the brake, defensive line.
Especially with the intense new reverse grid races. Overtaking just is not his strong suit.
That's G2 Liege, tumbling all the way down to 10th position.
While Series 1 did not go the Frenchman's way, his brutal pace and few excellent and highly necessary passes put him on the top step at Mexico City.
Wow, guys, what an incredible year it has been. I just want to get your most memorable moments, gents. I mean, Ali, you've been pretty much there the whole way through.
Yeah.
You must have a standout moment from the year.
Yeah, there's loads of standout moments. I think about overtakes, sometimes I think about the passes that I enjoyed watching, particularly TX3 Lightning up the inside of, I think, one of the THR boys. At Road America.
You gotta remind me.
I'm gonna remind you of it. It was a beautiful pass, just kept his foot in it and went straight through. Lots of memorable moments though, and you know, Mexico City was just a minute ago, and the final race there was pretty memorable as well.
You know, you kind of took my thunder there. I'm actually going to cheat. I'm going to take two.
Oh, go on. We love to.
Well, they're both kind of in the same theme though. I'm going with the final race. And we had long weekends of racing, and in each time, the final race determined our playoff winners. It came down to Box versus Roadrunner at Le Mans in the final race on the Sunday, and the same thing happened again. We had Box versus Liege in that final race at Hockenheim, or Nürburgring, one for the ages.
Incredible, guys. It always seems to be that it always comes down to those little moments, the inches that matter, especially that separates the best from the best. Do you always find a similar top two when it comes down to these big competitions? Is there always, you know, similar people who are always up at the top and players?
Yeah, yes and no. Yes and no. So in the history of the Forza RC, you know, all the years that we've been running it, there's two drivers that have really stuck out, and that's Liege and Lightning. Certainly, that's mixed up a little bit this year, though. 2018 has seen just the field increase in size, not just from the amount of people who have participated, which has been enormous, but also the amount of people who are participating and being competitive. So a huge amount of people competing at a very high level, so anyone can really win.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, guys. That was our year so far. Now it's time to talk London. We've put together a handy little video to explain how the World Finals will work.
During day one, we will split our 24 drivers into two groups of 12. Over 3 races, the drivers score points that could put them through to the final. With only the top 6 drivers from each group progressing to the Sunday, the race will be thick and fast.
There you have it. And we have so much more information we want to tell you about our World Finals. So throughout this show, we'll be taking moments away to update you on the details of next weekend. So without further ado, let's announce the cars along with the tracks the drivers will be taking for our World Finals. For the semi-finals, to get the action started, we will be taking to Watkins Glen, and the drivers will be firing off that start line in either a 2017 Ford Team Penske Pennzoil Fusion or a 1990 Mercury Whistler Radar Cougar XR7. Moving on to race 2 of our semis, it will be the 1997 Nissan Skyline GTR V-Spec at Hockenheim Ring. For this one, the weather is up to you. Dry or wet, you decide. And to close off the semis, race 3 will be held at Le Mans Bugatti Circuit. The car, either a 1989 Mercedes-Benz Sauber C9 or the 2018 Honda Civic Type R. Moving on to the Grand Finals. Race 1 will be in the 2016 Aston Martin Vantage GT12 at Silverstone Grand Prix Circuit. Weather is your decision, dry or wet. Race 2 is at the Nürburgring GP Circuit, with the world's best 24 drivers getting behind the pedal of either the 2016 Porsche Cayman GT4 or the 2017 BMW M6 GTLM. Moving on to race 3, it will be the 2014 Honda Zengo Motorsport Civic. Where they are racing will be down to you for this one, Suzuka or Mount Panorama Bathurst. And finally, as we close out our grand final, race 4 will see us at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Grand Prix Circuit. As we race to the finish line, will the year close out in the 2017 Chevrolet Team Penske IndyCar or the 2016 Ford Shelby GT350R? That decision is all yours. As always, you at home can have your say and determine the tracks where the action goes down at Worlds, in what cars, and pick between the weather conditions. Head over to watch.forzarc.com to cast your vote, and voting will close at the end of the show. Gentlemen, what an incredible thing to have everyone at home be able to actually choose the weather conditions, the cars, the track that they're on. I mean, I think that's fantastic for a viewer at home to be like, you know what, actually, I was a part of that. I actually chose those for the drivers. How important is it for these drivers to have their type of weather condition, their track, and possibly their car?
I mean, it's something we've featured all year. It's been a fun way of getting people to be able to play God a little bit. It's fun, especially with the weather. You can kind of click a button and it might rain or it might stay sunny on track, which I think is good fun. Yeah, it makes a difference to the drivers as well. Some of them have practiced one variant more than another. So there's definitely some race importance there as well.
Now, Flip, I just want to mention the race for finals. Now, Indianapolis Motor Speedway Grand Prix circuit, and either the Chevrolet or Ford, but I know you were talking to me earlier before this show, and we have seen this before, haven't we?
We have. When I saw this, my eyes lit up, you know, because we had this same car, the Shelby GT350, in studio in Seattle, and we get another chance to see it on that same track at Indianapolis, the Brickyard. There was so many lead changes amongst our top drivers, and every single one of those drivers, the top 4, are here again in London. So maybe we get a second chance to see that race.
That would be amazing. Guys, how different is it in terms of weather conditions, whether it's wet or whether it's dry? I mean, surely the players and the drivers want it to be dry conditions. Surely wet does just prove a little bit of a challenge, no?
So there's a few drivers out there, the majority, yeah, 100%. They'll prefer it to be dry. They'll like the grip better and be able to get their tyres on the asphalt. But there's a few who perform a little bit better in the wet. People like Mitch and Box tend to poke their heads up.
I think the rest of the field, I would definitely agree. The rest of the field is just kind of glad because now, with the voting happening prior to the show, they get their opportunity to practice that combination. So the voting plays torture on them sometimes because they're doing so much practice. This time around, the voting taking place now is certainly going to be favorable to them.
Now, gents, if you were able to choose, if you were at home and you had the choice, which race at the moment would you be looking at, and what particular car, track or weather condition would you choose, do you think?
I like the Honda race number 3. It's the Honda TCC car, and you can choose Suzuka or Bathurst for that, right? If it's a Honda, it kind of has to be Suzuka for me, yeah. So it's kind of Japanese car manufacturer, a Japanese track. That's fun to me. I think that'd be a cool combination.
Fashionable trend there.
There you go.
What about you, Flip?
I'm going more classic. The C9, the Mercedes. We'll be at Bugatti there. That car, for me, it's a top 5 car in Forza.
Well, 2 of the strongest competitors in the coming World Finals are Noble Box from Germany and Sauber Zoom from Brazil. They've met on the track before and had some great battles in Mexico City. Let's see how the 2 stack up against each other.
2 of the strongest competitors in the coming World Finals are sitting with us today. Noble Box from Germany and Sauber Zoom from Brazil. They've met on track before and had some great battles in Mexico City.
And it's all about Box right now. He's doing everything he can to hold off Zoom.
Let's see how the 2 stack up against each other. On pace alone, the 2 are evenly matched. But while Box has gone on to take podiums at both LAN events, Zoom has struggled with consistency and is yet to taste success. Will the pressure of the World Finals in London be a great leveller, or will one outshine the other as both drivers prepare for their 3rd and final bout?
Box is out in front.
Box right now has got it.
Well, we've got one of these gentlemen joining us right now in the arena. Noble Box, welcome to London, welcome to the Gfinity Arena, and welcome to the preview show. Lovely to have you.
Yeah.
The last time we saw you was in Mexico. How was that event for you?
Oh man, that event was definitely a crazy one. I mean, it was a lovely city and extremely wild event.
So it was really lovely. I can imagine. I just want to talk to you, right? I'm going to get right to the nitty-gritty now. I'm not even going to hesitate here. I want to know about that last day. I mean, it came down to the final, you and Lage, and it was almost a flip of a coin for you, having to wait for that result. What was that like as a player mentally, knowing you've done your race and all you could do now was wait and see what that final result was going to be?
Yeah, it's like all I was able to do was just to wait and to pray that I do not receive a penalty for that move I did in the final lap. It's just I had to go for that move to even have a chance, and well, it was quite savage, but I had to do it.
Now, we will actually discuss the adjudication later on because we've actually got the head of adjudication, Paul Kent, coming on the show later, so we will get some more information about that. But, gents, I mean, having Noblebox here is incredible. How do you think he performed in Mexico, Ali?
Yeah, I think he did a great job. All the way through the event, you were more or less on a par with the Seattle results. So, round one, you're a little bit shaky.
Yeah.
Round two, you start to pick up some momentum. And so that said to me that you were going to go for the win. It looked good on the final day. I haven't really spoken to you yet about the move Lage put on you. Where were you at before that move, and where were you mentally after the move?
You mean in race 4 on the chicane on Nürburgring?
Exactly.
Yeah, the thing is, I passed Lage the corner before, and I was taking it to an inside line because I knew that he will dive, but he dived anyway on the inside as even possible line. And he went to the brakes so late and everything, and he just completely blocked me from turning in, and I almost hit the tire wall and the chicane and everything.
You two shared a room in Mexico.
Yeah.
What was that room like?
No way, you shared a room. Oh my word.
I mean, there were some mind games being played, honestly.
Like what? What did he do? What were you doing to each other?
Or like, for example, on the final day, when I woke up, I just got out my laptop and practiced, and Lage heard like the sound of my engine, and he was like, "Box, are you serious?"
Flip, what did you...
Room of Champions, though, right? A Room of Champions.
Yeah.
On Twitter, we saw that. It was pretty neat.
Flip, what did you think about the race? I mean, we're talking about the final moments here, and of course, how extremely close it was at the end. But for the race itself, right at the start, you know, who did you see having this win for the finals?
Oh, you could have flipped a coin. I mean, these types of races, they're won in those final moments. And that moment may come in the first lap, the second lap, or even the last lap. It's that moment is the one everyone's looking for. But it wasn't just, it was so difficult to breathe. You could have heard a pin drop. You knew the studio was tense at that moment. I was working behind the scenes, and it wasn't just the elevation in Mexico City. You were having trouble breathing. Everyone knew what was at stake that day.
Now, Box, you missed out on Mexico by a fraction, by a hair, by a whisker. Now you have a chance to redeem yourself here in London. Are you going to be winning this event?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'm starting in first place again in my lobbies, so the cards are pretty much in my hands.
Well, I'm very excited to see where you're going to be placing in London. I know you can do it this time. I have full faith in you, Box. Now, 24 of the best drivers from around the world have qualified and earned their right to come to the Gfinity Arena to battle it out at Worlds. I think it's about time to meet them. Noblebox, G2 Lage, Sauber Zoom, Williams Mitch, TX3 Lightning, F4H Venom, Williams Roadrunner, JSR Rossi, Veloce Force 1, Williams 7, Veloce Virus, Vitality Asics, TX3 Wesley, TPR Chemical, THR Vanquish, JSR Commando, Veloce Racers, F4H Dino, TPR Zermatt, FRF Handicap, TX3 Billy Sue, JSR Craviator, F4H Rebs, and finally, THR Knee. There it is, gents, 24 of the world's finest, and they're going to be here in London to battle it out. Now, I just want to get your thoughts on this list. Is there anyone, Ali, that you feel should have qualified for Worlds and that didn't make it?
Someone I would have loved to have seen qualify is a driver called Rich92 F1. Ooh. We got a very small sighting of him in the Wednesday Showdowns just 1 week. He's like the world's fastest privateer, and so he's out there not representing a team and just doing an amazing job on his own. I would have loved to have seen Rich92 F1 in London.
What about you, Flip? Anybody that you would have loved to have seen on that list that didn't make it for you?
Yeah, there's a guy, Europa. He worked really hard, and I think he just missed out. Any of those guys who just missed out, you kind of feel for them. But him in particular, because we did a lot of practice together, so Europa would my call.
Box, as a driver yourself, what do you need to do in order to better yourself, in order to maybe make that list if you hadn't done before? How do you improve yourself as a driver?
It's just for the major part, you just need to practice the combos over and over again. Like, it really takes tons of times to cut the pace on these combinations. And it's just, you know, for some people it's difficult, you know. There are some drivers who also have a full-time job, and it's not easy for everyone, and it's not the same for everyone.
Now, Ali, looking at this list again, I want to get your view on whether this is the correct list for you personally. Do you think there's anyone on there, or a few drivers on there? I mean, you don't have to name them if you don't want to,
right,
but that you think, actually, do you know what? I'm quite surprised you're on there. You know, congratulations. But is this the correct list for you? You think going into Worlds? You
know, I think it is. I think the reason it's the correct list is because this year, the way the scores worked for the Forza Racing Championship has been very much towards people who've participated. If you participate in every event, then you'll climb up the leaderboard. So what we're seeing is a list of drivers who are really active in the championship. And that's what I love about it, and that's why I think the top 24 are the right 24.
Flip, I want to know, who is the dark horse of this competition right now? Who is really taking your fancy and you think, do you know what? He might not be somebody we've been naming a lot and talking about a lot, but he's done his work, he's got the practice, and he could potentially take a really good placing.
Well, if you're going for a dark horse, starting 9th overall coming in is Valache Force 1. And the reason why I want people to pay attention to him is because we saw him make a fantastic move up the field during Mexico to really get his spot. The reason why he's here is because his performance in Mexico, and that was not an easy challenge for him.
Now, gentlemen, I know we want to see it again, a rematch with the verses of Lage and Box, and of course there's plenty of other drivers that could be taking that trophy potentially as well. But in terms of seeing these two drivers battle it out again, potentially on a race course, I mean, what do you think could be the overall winner here? Do you think it could be Box again? Is it really down to that finer moment? Yeah,
I mean, this guy's always got a good chance, right? He's always up there fighting for it. But I mean, I said it before the finals at Mexico, and we've repeated it a few times this year. The field is so strong this year that I believe there are 12 drivers out there, so a full racing lobby of drivers who could take the championship home. If they get the momentum, if they get the wins time after and again, they don't make any mistakes, I think it's anyone's game.
That's it, Box. It's anybody's game, and I cannot wait for you to get over to London and battle it out again, once again, and prove yourself. I'm sure you're going to be able to do it, but thank you so much for joining us on the preview show, and I'll see you very soon in London. Voting is still open for you to have your say on what cars, tracks, and whether the world's best 24 drivers will contend with during the World Finals. Head over to watch.forzarca.com to have your say. I'll see you after this.
Ultimate Edition and play 4 days early.
Hello guys, welcome back to the Forza Racing World Championship preview show. Moving on, actually, wait, I don't want to move on yet, guys. I want to quickly talk to you, both of you, about your interests, right? Because I've been watching the shows, you know, I actually have been updating myself on Forza and what's been going on. And Ali, I've noticed you're a bit of a foodie. You always seem to be talking about food. Okay. You went shopping, there's food everywhere. I mean, I saw a sandwich on set on the preview show as well, quite a gross sandwich at that, I'm not gonna lie. I remember your reaction eating it. So what is this obsession with food? Are you a bit of a foodie?
You know, it's something me and Scott Cole bond over. You know, we sit there and chat about racing, chat about food together. So yeah, it's always fun. So trying to mix in some food references with our racing as well.
Is it something you do as you travel over the world following Forza? Are you trying all the different cuisines and the culture?
Yeah, I'd like to say we're trying lots of different cuisines and that we're branching out, but mostly it's chicken wings, largely chicken wings.
Chicken wings
as a base, and then maybe 1 or 2 regionally specific dishes.
We'll have to get you Nando's.
He's got a sweet tooth too.
He does?
He's got a sweet tooth.
What
Good
for?
shake.
Oh yeah, true, a milkshake. Yeah, that's true.
Milkshake.
Milkshakes, yeah, they go down well. They don't hurt.
We're gonna have to get you a Nando's when you come over to London. You're gonna have to tell me exactly how the London food is. While the Forza Racing Championship 2018 has predominantly been an individual competition, 2 crews are fighting for the top of the leaderboard coming into the World Finals in London: TX3 and JSR. Two crews are fighting for the top of the team leaderboard coming into the World Finals in London: JSR and TX3. The lineups have changed. New challengers like Williams Esports and Veloce Esports have appeared, but throughout this season, both of these community-run teams have held steady in first and second. Despite losing out on the Series 2 team victory, an honour which went to the Veloce Esports team, TX3 still have a grip on the top spot for the overall 2018 win. Their line relies heavily on the seasoned Pro Lightning to bring home big points, as both Billy Sue and Wesley are still developing into mature drivers.
That's the touch! The collision! The touch both off the track!
And look at that, just like that!
Well, one team that will be hoping for a mediocre result from TX3 will be second place runners Jap Speed Racing. While JSR have seen some roster changes this season, the heart and soul of their competitive team, the combination of Rossi, Commando and Craviator, remains very much the same.
Right now, Rossi's starting to pick up the pace a little bit.
Whether or not JSR have the results to overtake TX3 seem to hang on how well Rossi does. When he's racing for his team, Rossi seems to find another gear.
Just said to myself, you know what, may as well just go all out. Just don't worry about the pack behind, because, you know, the faster guys were making their way through and I did not want to get involved.
Well, what a rivalry that is, gents. But I actually do have a special somebody from Team JSR right now. It's Commando. We have seen him before, and we have met before. Yep. My fellow Welsh friend. We have bonded over our country before. Yep. How are you doing, mate? Welcome to London.
Thank you very much. Yeah, pretty good.
Pretty good.
Looking forward to the World Championships.
I bet you are. Decent journey up, because I know you're from near Swansea.
Yeah.
Love it, absolutely love it. I love having a Welsh fellow friend in the studio as well. So, World Champs in London, mate.
Yeah.
Incredible opportunity, and I know we spoke before on the interview about how you weren't going to Mexico, and I remember you saying, I did the maths, you know, I should be at Worlds, I should qualify, but were you sitting at home watching Mexico thinking, I really do hope I have done this equation correctly?
Yeah, a bit. I was a bit nervous in the end, I can't lie, but I worked out pretty well, to be honest with you, because I didn't have to travel over to the other side of the world, and I still managed to keep my qualifying spot. I gained 1 position.
Yeah, I was going to say, you did gain a position, didn't you? So you're better off now, actually.
Yeah.
Fantastic. How are you feeling coming into London? You feeling confident?
Yeah, I'm feeling confident, feeling good. I think I'm going to be starting 8th in the semi-final off the grid, so I got a good chance of making the final, and then from there, you know.
Was it difficult to watch rather than actually drive? Because of course you can drive for your position then, but you having to watch and just pray for the best pretty much.
Yeah, like I'm a racer at heart. I was watching it, hoping I could be there, you know, missing out on a little fun, on all the bumping and grinding. But I think watching it for a while, took a break as well. Took a break from Forza for a bit, so I'm coming in fresh for the World Championships, and Yeah, I can't wait.
How is that rivalry with TX3? You know, does it give you a little bit of the fire in your belly when you're driving?
Oh yeah, of course. Like, I think the team thing is one of the main things in Forza, the community, the teams. There's quite of a gap. TX3 got on us. I think it's like nearly 1,000 points, maybe a bit more, 1,000 points. So it's going to be a tall ask to beat them in the championship. But if we got me, Rossi and Creaviator, I think if we get a good, we might have a chance, but it's very slim.
Ali, I'm going to put you on the spot here, mate.
Yeah.
Sorry about this in advance. But looking at this rivalry of JSR TX3, who's got the more predominant position in the racing world? Who do you think is the stronger contender?
The stronger team. I think, like, had you asked me a month ago or 2 months ago while Sauber Zoom was still in TX3,
yeah,
then I would have said TX3 were maybe the stronger team. They had more players who were able to play at that top level.
Yeah.
Without Zoom, though, I reckon JSR might have the advantage now.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. Like you got Lightning, like he's in North America, he's scoring them points. He's keeping consistently every time. I've had a bit of a bad run. Rossi missed, I think, one showdown. Creaviator is 1 minute really good, next minute doesn't show up, you know. Sorry, Krav. But I think over the teams, to finish second, I think we probably could secure. I think it's not bad in the whole.
Flip, what are you thinking with Commando? Being in the World Finals, of course, he didn't go to Mexico, but he has gained a position. Congratulations, man. It's a nice place to be in. What do you think of Commando as an overall driver? And I know this is a bit awkward for you. You're going to have to sit here and listen to what he thinks of you.
Well, I mean, the thing about this guy here, it's always been about luck. He's had some sort of luck thing that has always been a storyline this whole season. But talent has been the underlying thing that no one's never really said. For me, now going into London, is talent going to supersede luck? I think it is. What do you feel?
I hope so. I hope so more than anything. I have had a good long run of bad luck. And I hate having to say, oh, it's bad luck again. Oh, it's bad luck again. I wanted to say maybe it was my fault sometimes, but hopefully now I think I've had my fair share of bad luck, and hopefully it'll all go smoothly and I can get a good result.
Do you have like a pre-game ritual? Do you open the window and see which way the wind's blowing? Or
no, not quite, no. I don't know. I don't really have much ritual. I just go on and play. Maybe I should try it. Come up with something.
Now, Commando, mentally, it's quite a mental game. You know, you have to know exactly what you're doing on the racetrack. Like, how do you find your mental game is before you go into a big race or a big tournament or a big event? How do you prepare yourself mentally as a player?
I think you just got to switch off and not think about it too much. The more you think about it, the more you're going to worry about the stuff. Like, if you're going to go for an overtake and you question yourself 4 times, then just 9 out of 10 times you're going to crash. You know, that overtake's not going to happen. So just look at it, just relax, try not to think about it too much, because, you know, it's inevitable in anything you take compete in. Like, if it was any other sport, you're going to be nervous before the start. Everyone is. Maybe Lage isn't, because he's sometimes like a machine. But, yeah, just try not to overthink it. That's what I do. Not that I can say it works about that well for me, but I'm still here. I'm still fighting.
Yeah. You made it to the finals, the world finals, so I mean, it's not worked badly for you either, right?
No, yeah. Considering, yeah, it's been really good.
It has been. Well, guys, we have something new for all of you at home. For the first time ever, you will get to race live with the pros. Jump into the open world racing of Forza Horizon 4 and explore alongside your favourite pro drivers. Taking place right before Championship Sunday, the Forza Horizon 4 play event will enable you to see how you measure up against the best of the best. Gentlemen, incredible opportunity for everybody at home. Now, Commando, have you played Forza Horizon 4 yet?
I have.
What did you think of it?
Beautiful game.
Stunning,
Beautiful
isn't it?
Game, yeah.
In the UK, who knew the UK would look so gorgeous?
It looks even better on the game than it does in real life.
It does,
Didn't think I'd ever say that before.
What do you think it will be like, as a pro driver yourself, to play against, you know, the general public, to play against the viewers at home, and, you know, fans of Forza as well?
Yeah.
For them to get a chance to play against you guys, I mean, how do you think they'll fare up? They won't do that well, right?
I don't know, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, it's great, isn't it? You know, it's an open world, open lobbies as such. You just join in, have fun. You know, you can race. It's just relaxed.
Rules are a bit different.
Yeah, rules are different, yeah. bumping and grinding is allowed, crashing.
Yeah.
Oh, you wouldn't want to crash those gorgeous cars though, would you?
I'll tell you, well, see some people taking down the brick walls. They've been there for centuries.
Ali, how would you fare against some of these pro drivers? If you decided to get in the game as well, jump in with the pros, how would you do, mate?
Badly, really badly. Well, I mean, if I note down the cars and tracks beforehand, sweat them out, you know, then you beat me and I'd put effort in.
Yeah,
you know?
there you go.
So I guess I won't do it. I won't sweat it.
The grind is real, so you'd have to be practicing before you jumped in there.
I wouldn't even. I don't think I'd be anywhere near them. I'd be able to smash you off at a corner. I'll wait for you to brake.
Yeah.
You got to brake sometime, Commander.
Yeah, got to, yeah.
Now, Flip, would you be flipping the cars over, mate? Would you be up there contending against the best of the best?
Oh, I'd have to. No penalties. You know, if there's penalties here, I'm crashing. I'm going to I skid out free, and everyone else, you know, gets penalties. Maybe that's my shot. No, I'd need another class of car to compete with these guys.
Fantastic. Well, Commando, thank you so much for joining us today on the show. I know you missed out on Mexico, you didn't go, but you're here in London for the Worlds and one place extra, so it's a fantastic start for you, and I cannot wait to see where you place and maybe pick up a trophy. Come on, Wales, let's go. Well, 2018 has been a year of great change for competitive Forza for one reason above all. This has been the year that Latin America truly came to the racing party.
This has been the year that Latin America truly came to the racing party. This year has seen competitive level of those drivers from the LATAM region rival that of their North American counterparts. So, while Europe surely remains the region most densely populated with racing talent, change seems to be in the air. Let's take a look at those Latin American drivers who will be representing their region in the London World Finals. A few of the favourites from North America are Lightning, Force One and Venom. Now for me, this roster looks a little more experienced than the LATAM drivers.
Incredible, gents. The rise of LATAM is very much here. Now, I just want to ask, because we've got Zoom in the studio as well, so welcome, Zoom.
Thank you.
It's very interesting to look at where LATAM has come now, as it's like an appearance almost. You know, you guys have come up out of the ranks, and you're really taking force here in the Forza world. Now, Ali, why has this happened? Where has this come from? What do you think this is down to?
Yeah, I mean, there's always been a vibrant club scene in LATAM. I was in RBM for a little while.
Oh, so, yeah.
I've got a vested interest in that one. But they haven't always showed up to the races, and I do think it's a lot to do with this guy. Kind of leading the way a little bit in LATAM and doing a great job out there on track.
Zoom, what would you say to other potential LATAM drivers out there who want to come up out of the scene and potentially be a pro driver? How can they do that?
Well, I think first of all, they need to start to take part in those competitions. I mean, the thing of Brazil is we never went too much of those competitions because we don't have many in our country, so I think they should try a little bit more, try to register on Forza C and start to race in the practice. They normally don't use to practice too much, but it's thing they gotta do if they wanna show up and really take part on the championship.
Now, the lads here think that the rise of LATAM is you know, somewhat down to you as well as a driver yourself. But what would you say it's because of? Is it because of you and other drivers like you? Why has this suddenly come out of the woodworks and you guys are now a dominant force?
Oh, well, I think it's because I'm on the scene since Forza 5, so I've started like of the best Brazilian in like less than a year then I started gaming. So they always saw me like a legend, such a mark. So they all say, oh, Zoom is taking part, I can take part as well. So, I mean, I always used me like a reference for everything. So we got Wesley now today, and I teach Wesley so much in the past since Forza 5, and we used to play together, and they guys just saw me as a reference because since they know Forza, I am at Forza. So, as a Brazilian reference, so they just stuck it out.
Now, Flip, what do you think of the rise of LATAM in Forza at the moment, and how do you think they did at Mexico overall?
It was inspiring. I mean, we had, I don't even know how many drivers from LATAM, 7 maybe? Seven. There was a good quantity of drivers, and there was really, really good talent. Handicap comes to mind. Zoom mentioned Wesley. These are both drivers who have been in LAN events before, to me, that experience is paramount.
Fantastic. Now, Flip, do you have anything you would probably want to ask Zoom in terms of, you know, where they are at the moment and how they feel coming into London?
Yeah, I mean, so you had in the semis of really close racing with Box. He's starting in front of you. You got Lage in between you. How do you approach? Obviously, you want to be first, but you got two very, very fast drivers. What's your mentality with those guys in front of them?
Oh, well, with two fast guys like them on my front, I just gotta focus on keeping on track and don't letting anyone behind me get close to that fight. And I just need to start, they need to start battling.
Yeah.
Then I can see something, because when they battle, of course, they lose time, and they sometimes left some opportunities for you getting into it. So I'm just looking for it and trying to see if there is space where I can get it, or they tango up. So it's a little bit like a more caution approach, because there's not two common drivers. I mean, we got no common drivers on finals, but people, sometimes you see people you gotta pass because their driving style is different. But with Legend Box, it's just everything basically the same. So you gotta wait for that opportunity and just take the move.
Now, Zoom, how do you feel coming into London? Mexico's been and gone a few weeks ago, and now we're on to the UK. You're coming over here and you're going to be racing. How do you feel about this event?
Mixed feelings about it, because I expected to be better at Mexico, mainly on the finals. I mean, I did a great job at the quarterfinals. Semi-finals, I just had a bad race on Spa. So I'm still confident, to be honest. I will be starting second in my group at semi-finals. But I just gotta do some practice a little bit more. And but yeah, I still focus, and then the target still being the champ.
Thank you so much for that, Zoom. Well, I've got a bit more information for you guys about the finals that's happening in London. Now, of course, I'm going to be your host, Lottie Van-Praag, and I'm not alone. I'm going to be joined by Andy Dadinsky, or better known as Brav, and you would have seen him before in Season 1 Seattle. I've got fantastic Forza analysts, Brian Ekberg and Aaron Martin Pilkington, better known as Mellish, and then your commentators, the voices over your races. It's John Heinhoff and Alie Tacq, who I've got stand next to me right here. Hi, Alie. I've also got Scott Cole, who you would have seen in Mexico. He's a predominant voice in Forza. Now, guys, how do you watch, where to watch and when to watch? It's on Saturday. It's going to be the two semi-finals, and then, of course, Sunday, the grand finals. And very easy for you guys. It's 6 p.m. BST both days. But, Alie, what time is that in the Netherlands, mate?
Why? Why do you do this?
Because it's my job,
sometime in later or earlier.
Fantastic. Little inside joke there, mate. Well, the best place to watch is watch.forzarc.com. On there, you can complete quests and earn rewards such as cars, custom liveries, and driver suits. So, Alie, Flip, I know that you guys surely are under your desks, like while you're analysing, but you must be streaming it surely to win some of these incredible things that you can get by the time you get to Sunday. Are you not?
Yeah, that's right. No, I'm under the desk. I have my Xbox on, and it's all going.
It's all happening. It's
just downloading all the driver suits, all the bits. Yeah.
Flip, are you trying to get anything in particular here? Anything that's catching your eye?
I keep my eye on those liveries, because those are ones you just can't get other way.
Fantastic. Well, Zoom, who's your favourite commentator then, or analyst? You must have one, because somebody's gassing you up, surely.
Oh, I mean, it's hard to tell, but I like both guys. I like Alie. He's more.
Oh, wow, he's taking that, has he?
Sorry, Flip.
That's the preview show dance. Was that the preview show dance right there?
I don't know. It was a dance.
It was a celebratory dance. Well, yeah, you've got Zoom's seal of approval. I'm sorry, Flip. I mean, sad times.
Rooting for you.
Podium. I'll take a podium. Second.
Alie, I also want to mention, while you're having a little cheeky bromance here with Zoom, but you've also got another bromance as well, don't you? On stage, a bit of a father-son type of relationship here, Mr. Heinhoff, I believe.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, of course. I'm looking forward to seeing him again.
Oh, see, there it is, that loving look in your eye. Because I actually did manage to catch some of these romantic glares that you two were having, with a little cheeky romance going on. I can't wait to see some more.
Just holding hands under the desk.
Oh yeah. we know it's happening. Well, guys, voting is still open for you to have your say on what cars, tracks, and whether the world's best 24 drivers will contend with during the World Finals. Head over to watch.forzarc.com to have your say. I'll see you after this.
John, it's great to have you here today. So pleased to have you. For those who don't know, who is John Hindhaugh?
I was a boy who loved playing with cars. I can't remember a time that I didn't love cars.
Tell me about the early days of getting into broadcasting.
I realised quite early on that I enjoyed music and I liked radio and I liked broadcasting. So my ultimate ambition as I was growing up was to be a music DJ. I got involved in hospital radio and started to get a really, really good grounding in broadcasting.
Let's shift over to Forza RC a bit. You are a member of the team. What's your impressions so far of what you've seen?
Well, what's happened in esports over the years has been extraordinary. When I first started doing esports, you did your race in the game, you submitted a game file, so you weren't racing against people head to head. And, you know, 6 days after the end of the contest, you found out who'd won. But Brian, you've got to remember when I first started following motorsport, you couldn't watch it live, so you waited for the magazines to come out the following week to read the race report even on Formula One. So we've come from that in my lifetime to guys racing in real time at the sort of standard that we see in Forza. It's extraordinary. These guys are at the top of their game. If you want to be the best, you've got to commit. And that doesn't matter whether you're sitting strapped in to a GT3 car or a GT4 car that I've been fortunate enough to drive, or you want to get to the playoffs and beyond in Forza RC.
I remember Force One in the earliest days of seeing his name. All things considered, he wasn't at the level he was at. So we've seen these guys literally come up and become Forza RC leaderboard contenders, and you watch this almost happen in real time. I imagine it's a direct analog to what you see through the feeder systems into Formula One.
Exactly correct. It's the same in Forza. You can see, ooh, there's a bit of a talent. It's not the beautifully polished diamond, but there's something there. You know, keep an eye on this lad and see them come through. And I find that lovely.
I do too, and Force One's a perfect example because I used to be able to beat Force One. He would eventually pass me, and I'd be like, well, I used to be faster than Force One, and now here he is at the winning races in the North American region. He's putting in the lap.
Yeah, and don't forget, Brian, there is a t-shirt that says, the older you get, the faster you work.
That's right.
And that's the same in virtual as in the real
all
world.
colors of that.
Hi guys, welcome back from the break. I've got some exciting stuff up next because I want to show you a series that highlights the skill of Forza artists, and we've paired 5 artists up with 5 of our drivers to bring their preferences to life on the Forza livery. It's a fun journey of how painters and drivers collaborate and use the tools in Forza Motorsport to create amazing works of art. Previously, we introduced you to some of these drivers and designer pairings, and today we see what happens when Sorba Zoom and Ice Rabbit Design join forces. Hello guys, we are actually in the studio. We have you here, Kerry, nice to meet you and lovely to have you on. But other people call you Rabbit, don't they?
I've got quite a few nicknames.
Quite a few. Quite a few nicknames. Well, it's amazing that you have actually paired up with Zoom, who is sat here with us still. Hi Zoom, welcome back. Incredible pairing here. You actually get to design a livery for a pro driver. How amazing is it, Zoom, to have something created for you personally?
Yeah, it's great because it's all about being exclusive. So I just got a vinyl design for myself, based on what I like. It's quite cool to see, and we got some very skilled designers on Forza community. I know them as well, and Rabbit is one of them. So I'm just so excited to see it.
I can't wait to see it, and I'm sure you're extremely excited. Now, Rabbit, I want to know, what is your signature style when you're designing a livery for anybody? Do you have a specific thing that's kind of like incorporated to your own design?
I'm specifically what's known as a fantasy artist, so I deal with mythical creatures, characters out of comic books, lots of stuff that pop art, anything. I'm not very good at portraiture, I don't deal with real life, but anything fantasy-wise, I like to keep pushing harder and going further and more detail, and obviously keep pushing the layer groups to the limit.
That sounds amazing. You sound like my kind of girl in terms of design. I love that. How did you take your design preference and mix that with what Zoom is looking for in terms of his livery?
Well, when I actually was in contact with him, he said he wanted something very simple, very basic, but unfortunately that's not my style. That wasn't going to flow for me. And considering he has now joined forces with Forza Racing in a Forza RC, I thought, why not collab that in with my own design? And since their logo seems to be a little red dragon,
Love it. I know exactly how difficult it is to make a livery in game. It takes a lot of time. How much time has it taken you to complete this for Zoom?
Paints specifically, especially ones where you have to work on the car because they're that intricate and detailed and the lines have to join up right there on the car. It means that you can't work in the vinyl editor. You have to work with the spotlights and you have to work on the car, and if there's glitches on the car or the lighting's not great, there's a lot of in and out the garage to check the shading, to check the lineups. But they can take anywhere from a simple livery being 10 hours to 30 to 40, depending on the detail.
That's a long time. I mean, how difficult is it to become a livery artist in Forza? Because I know it's so intricate, the detail. And how did you learn?
To be honest, I was never initially interested in racing. I can't turn a wheel or a controller to save my life. It was my actual partner that got me into watching for him race, and he was from the get-go for Forza. He was involved with it, and when he actually found out about this vinyl editor, he thought, you know, one night he knew I had a background in art, and he thought, do you want to give it a go? And when I saw it, I was like, I've never done something like this before. I've literally used pen and paper or a paintbrush, so I figured, you know, it's a completely different method of painting, and I thought I'd give it a go, and it just so happened it worked for me, and I've just gone from strength to strength for more and more detail and harder projects.
Fantastic. It was taken off from there for sure, and I cannot wait to see what you've come up with. Zoom, I want to throw over to you, mate, because how incredible to have somebody like Ice Rabbit design something for you. Are you looking forward to seeing the design?
Yeah, of course. I'm excited to see how we mix up the styles, because as she said, she likes more to do some design with dragons, things like that, more minimalist. I like something more simple, more sober. So, but I still think it's going to be an awesome design. I have shared of that, so I'm excited to see.
What do you expect to see from the design yourself? Because as you said, you know, you're more of the sort of plain Jane, aren't you? You like the sort of basic kind of looking car, but of course Rabbit, she does some elaborate stuff, especially with fantasy work, which I love, so I cannot wait. By the way, we can talk after the show, because if you want to design me something, that's fantastic. I mean, what do you expect to see, you know, these two worlds collide? Are you excited to maybe try something new yourself?
Yeah, I mean, it's always good to see something different, something new, and that's what this series is bringing to us, because we paired up something different, and yeah, let's see, why not? I can change my line of designs and talk with the Sauber guys to see if we can change something maybe in the future, why not?
Well, I can't wait any longer, guys, because I just want to know exactly what this collaboration is going to look like. So, let's take a look.
What happens when you take an artist and a driver from Forza RC and pair them up? This is Driving the Design. Start your engines. Forza Racing Championship is the premier racing esport, featuring top drivers from around the world. Just as compelling and competitive is the community of Forza RC artists. These individuals transform shapes and patterns into progressive works of automotive art. We selected 5 drivers and challenged Forza RC artists to create a custom livery to capture their unique personality. Let's take a look at who's paired up. Felipe Dos Reis Roberto, gamertag Sauber Zoom.
He's got the best game face in Forza.
Carrie Mumford, gamertag Ice Rabbit Design.
Hi, I'm Ice Rabbit.
Hello, I'm Felipe.
What colours do you use? What are your favourite colours?
I just like colours that have great contrast. The car is just more shocking when you see it. I like designs that just break itself, you know, it's not something continuous like changing the colours. I'm more like the guy who likes the old school cars, good design, and you see a lot of metal in the car. It's very cool. So minimalist, I would say, design.
So you like the edges like to meet up, you don't like stamped effects?
Yeah, aggressive style, but still fast. We just need to see how it's going to be in the final product, you know. So 2 very different styles, but I think we can mix that up and get something great at the end. Seeing new things, and let's see.
The dragon breaking through the car, it's like him breaking into Forza.
Wow. Zoom, I'm going to say now, I am so jealous of that design. That is incredible. What is your first reaction looking at that?
Well, I mean, I couldn't even believe it when I saw it. I mean, it's exactly what I was thinking about, what I wanted. I mean, it's a simple car, but at the same time, still we have the Dragon on the hood that takes the highlight of the car. And I mean, it's just, people are gonna look at it and keep looking a long time because it's just crazy. I mean, it's phenomenal.
I mean, Rabbit, I'm speechless. Like, that was absolutely amazing. And to know, I've now learned a little bit of how amazing it is for you to be able to create something that detailed on the car. I mean, the Dragon coming across the front of the car, scratching his way through. I mean, you said earlier on, you know, that represents something. Can you just tell everybody at home, you know, what that means, having that Dragon on that top?
Well, it's actually very symbolic of Zoom now being part of Sauber, so I just figured it was him breaking through Forza RC Racing, you know, ripping up the tracks, and it was the Dragon, it was the car, it was metal, it was power, it was Zoom.
That was absolutely incredible. Ali, looking at that,
yeah.
I mean, you must, I know you're blown away because you've got this massive smile on your face, mate. I mean, what do you think of that?
Yeah, astonishing, isn't it? I can't believe that you guys make them out of these basic shapes and all these things. I wouldn't even know. Looking at the finish, it's like, where do you even start?
A lot of people don't know where to start, but it's basically one shape at a time. It's all you can do on Forza, unfortunately.
Amazing, amazing. It's just so lifelike. I love the little animation in the video as well, which kind of gave it that extra pop.
I have to admit, that's the first time me seeing that too, that actually brought it to life for me, made it a bit more real, because this whole process for me has been phenomenal.
I mean, it's an outstanding achievement, and the amount of detail, I don't think everyone at home knows how difficult that is to get that realistic, lifelike looking dragon. I mean, I know they're not real, I know dragons don't exist, guys, but if they did, that would be it, because that was stunning. I mean, you must be so proud of yourself. And at what point do you create this design and think, yeah, I think I'm done here. I think that's what I want.
Scarily enough, you can keep going until you've used all 3,000 layers, but I think there's at some point where you can overwork it and it looks messy, and he specifically wanted a clean design. So I tried to, because I am a fantasy painter, so I like to go big and expressive and bold and use every layer out there. I tried to respect his wishes and keeping the car clean and neat and have it flow. So when I got to a certain point where I thought, right, it's starting to get a bit too busy, I eased off and thought, right, I had to put my painting brush down and thought, right, this time as a collab, I'm going to have to work as a team.
Do you know what, I think you've taken the spec and you've delivered perfectly. It was an outstanding design, and I'm sure Zoom cannot wait to use that on the track. So Zoom, Rabbit, thank you so much for coming down today, and thank you so much for chatting with me, guys. But it's incredible to see how this partnership has grown between you, and the end result was outstanding. But I've still got to be on air for a little bit, by the way, Rabbit, so please don't go anywhere. Come and sit down in the studio, because I'm coming to you for my design later on, because my goodness, you have blown me away. Now let's go behind the design to get a little more insight into our Forza painters. Let's take a look at the Ice Rabbit's creative process.
I just feel amazing. You know, sometimes I even can't believe it's just some huge honor.
Can you tell me a little bit about what Zoom wanted for the actual design?
When I talked to Zoom, he actually wanted aggressive, edgy, but also slightly understated. He's more a race design, whereas I'm more fantasy. So we had to kind of meet in the middle for some sort of collaboration where we could both get what we wanted in the design. I took my inspiration from the actual make of the car. It was like a little dragon. And I thought, well, dragon, fantasy, he also wanted aggressive and edgy, so I thought that would be perfect, you know.
Is there any element that you took and put it in there specially for him that he would recognize?
I do think there is an aspect of it, which is the dragon breaking through the car. It's like him breaking into Forza, him finding himself, him becoming relevant in the actual game. I just think it's a ruthless paint for basically a ruthless driver.
What was the most challenging thing about creating this design for Zoom that really challenged yourself to really go out and do the best?
To actually have the dragon come inside and out the other side is something that I've not done before. And to make the metal work look like it had actually been scored by the dragon. to actually make that look realistic is another first for me.
Are you happy with the design, the way it came out?
Yeah, I'm happy with it.
We're going to take a look right now at the car that Kerry designed for Zoom.
Great stuff, such a talent from Rabbit, and Zoom seemed over the moon with the finished design. But we're moving on now, and I am actually joined by the Director of Esports at Gfinity, Paul Kent. Paul, lovely to have you on the show. Welcome here.
Thank you for having me.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. And Mexico was a couple of weeks ago, and I know you came back. Enjoyed the city?
Yeah, it was actually a lot better than I expected. It was a great setting, nice vibe. A lot going on.
Fantastic, fantastic. I obviously want to speak to you about the adjudication process and how it went down in Mexico, because I know that Gfinity has run the adjudication team for every Forza Racing Championship so far, online and offline, for the last 2 years, quite a long time. Yep. How does it work, and how have you built up the team so far?
Okay, so at any one time there's about 20 people in the adjudication room, and that's made up of spotters, marshals, loggers, clippers. And generally what happens is, when the race begins, there is what we call spotters, who are assigned to each car. So one person is designated to each car, and they watch as the race progresses. Every time they see an infringement or an infraction, they will call out. They will call out pod 1, we refer to the cars as pods, and a logger will log that down, and a clipper will simultaneously clip that incident. At the end of the race, and there could be 200 incidents, there could be 50 incidents, depending on the track and the weather conditions. For example, it obviously goes no surprise that when it rains, there's a lot more incidents. So at the end of the race, the spotters move away, and the marshals then step in. This gives us another layer of security, so we have 2 eyes on the incident. The marshals will then go through every single incident and make a judgment decision on each infraction or infringement and apply penalties. And the key point here is how we actually interpret the rules. So, for example, if someone was to cut a corner, but only cut it slightly and didn't gain any advantage, we wouldn't apply a penalty there, we would mark it down. So if they did it multiple times, a penalty would be applied. And that way it's all about making sure the spirits of the rules are applied correctly.
Fantastic, I love that. But so say for Mexico, you mentioned a rough number of penalties there. How many would you have reviewed for Mexico? So that could have, potentially been a race changer.
In Mexico, we're looking in the hundreds of incidents. As for a race changer, we're looking in the 10s and 20s for significant issues. We're acutely aware that there was quite a few contentious decisions, and I thought we'd maybe talk about 3 of them here today, and we've got some footage to show that as well.
Well, speaking of that, actually, let's have a look at some of these hotly debated adjudication decisions. First of all, we've got Zoom and Box, so let's take a look at that.
What you can see here is Box is trying to make up gain positions against Zoom. It's in the rain. He decides to brake late to hopefully try and cut the distance between the 2 of them. Unfortunately, by the time he sees Zoom, it's too late, and as he brakes, he knocks into Zoom and gains a position. This is a very straightforward decision. I think Box acknowledged that later in the day as well.
Let's take a look at Davy's skills and Force 1.
Okay, so what happens here is Force 1 is on the inside between the wall and Davy's skills. As Davy's skills is approaching the apex, he unfortunately limits the amount of width available to Force 1 to maybe a half a car length. Because of this, Force 1 collides slightly with the wall, rebounds out, and actually hits into Davy's skills. We deem this as an accidental racing issue, and actually it's quite relevant, because in the real world racing recently there was an incident between Lewis Hamilton and Sebastian Vettel, where Vettel was in the lead. Lewis Hamilton went to move past him, and for some reason in the race it looked like Vettel conceded ground and Hamilton manoeuvred and took the spot. In the after-race press conference, he was asked why that happened, and he made the point to say that he knew Lewis Hamilton was in his outside, it was in his blind spot, but he knew he was still there. He knew he had to concede ground to allow him to have room to drive. Lewis Hamilton in turn made a point to say that he was lucky he had an experienced driver he was overtaking who actually gave him that room, because otherwise he would have ended in the wall.
Fabulous, I love that example as well. Lastly, let's take a look at the lightning track behaviour.
So this is just what to highlight. We were aware that certain drivers were trying to test adjudication, which is disappointing to see, but nonetheless, we were acutely aware of it. We record every single feed. What Lightning was doing in this incident, he was dive bombing. So dive bombing is a term basically means you're braking very late when you know actually it's a high-risk manoeuvre. In this situation, Lightning dived very, very late and actually slid into Virus, who was in front of him. However, there was no damage of any lasting nature, and both drivers kept the same position. So we viewed this as a racing incident, we viewed Lightning as being in the wrong, and we marked it down. If there had been future incidents that would have caused damage, Lightning would have got a heavy penalty. Again, it's about viewing the rules, viewing the integrity of the rules and actually the perception of the rules. It's not about just black and white. Racing is not that way. Same as every racing series in the world.
Fantastic. Ali, I mean, as an analyst yourself, you're always watching the game. You see these incidents happen. How important is it to have an on-point adjudication team to make sure that these incidents are reported correctly?
I mean, like in any sport, in motorsports, the drivers race, yeah, the limits of the track and the physical ability of their car, but in terms of their fairness, they race the marshals. So having a marshal having a group of marshals who have a strong line, who stop unfair behaviour on track is very important, because otherwise it is permissible within the formula of racing. So it's very important to have a group of people to ensure that the drivers, yeah, don't do that.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Paul Kent, for coming on here and explaining exactly how the adjudication process works, because a lot of people at home might not actually know, the amount of time and effort that goes into making sure that these incidents get processed correctly. So thank you so much. And you will be here at full force with the team in London to make sure that we get the results everyone deserves. So thank you so much, Paul. Now, somebody that I am missing is Flip. Andy, where on earth are you right now, mate? We're missing you down here. Where are you?
Today, I'm going to show you how to pass like a pro. And there are 3 key points. That's identify, that's patience, and that's plan your attack. We're going to get our first clip started, and this is Chemical versus Force 1. Now, one of these drivers is going to make it through to the finals. This is at Mexico, and one of them is not. Chemical here in the green, and Force 1 behind him in the blue. Let's take a look. They're headed to the final chicane now, about to head to the start-finish straight. And it's at this point, Force 1 starts to see weakness in Chemical. And the reason why I say weakness is because look where Chemical is on track. The racing line is way out here. What's Chemical doing over here? Play that clip, continue. Again, Force 1 in the draft now. And then boom, watch it. See that? Force 1 popped out to the outside here. Why did he pop out to the outside? Again, racing line. This is where Force 1's looking, okay? He's in trouble because up ahead is La Source, and it's a perfect opportunity to make a pass, a very sharp hairpin. I'm gonna pause it again, because now at this point, Chemical knows he's in trouble, because he's well off the racing line. That apex is gonna be way, way to his right. I'm gonna pause it here again. Now, notice when I said earlier his vision, Forces 1 vision, it's now changed completely. Here he is, he's looking to the inside. Way too easy of a pass. Chemical put himself in that position. Sorry, Chemical, I know this was a costly mistake, but Force 1 made that pass very easily. Now they're headed to Eau Rouge. Our second clip. Let's get that on screen. So you know your players. This is Roadrunner. That is JSR Rossi, and just up ahead of him, small player in this pass, that's G2 Lage. And this is Bathurst again in the semis. Now there was a little incident there. You notice how quickly Roadrunner gained up in track space there, because Lage played a small part in Rossi losing momentum. See that car kind of shake there? Now they're headed towards Murray Corner. You can pass here, but that's not where Roadrunner does it. Again, it's all about racing line. This is where Roadrunner's looking. That's the racing line. I'm gonna pause it again. JSR Rossi's clearly gone defensive. He should be out here where Roadrunner is. Roadrunner knows this is a perfect opportunity to make a pass, but he doesn't make the pass necessarily in the corner. We'll get to that in a second. Now what Rossi could have done here is held that apex. We call it parking it on the apex. Instead, he goes out wide. He's already planned this attack. This is where he's looking. We said, look where he's looking here. Again, Rossi a little weak there on exit. Now, side by side, Rossi knows he's in trouble. Coming up to Hell Corner, little bump. Again, move done, passing like a pro. That was Force 1, and this time it's Roadrunner. So those are our 2 clips on how to pass like a pro. Now head back to Mellish for the 5 toughest corners in Worlds.
Here are 5 of the toughest corners of the Forza Racing Championship World Finals 2019. Coming in at number 5, we have the famous Schumacher S. It invites drivers to go from curb to get the best corner exit speed, but a mis-entry onto the middle curve will split the car off the racing line and into the sand. The trick here is to know that letting off and losing a position is better than trying to power through. In at number 4, we have Spoon Curve here at Suzuka. Unlike its deceptive name, this corner is not symmetrical, therefore a straightforward double apex will not do. Entrance into Spoon requires a 120-degree apex. This sets the drivers up perfectly to follow the inside curve without touching it and hit max gas on the way out into one of Suzuka's critical overtaking zones. In at number 3 is Hockenheim Ring, where arguably Sachs is the most technical corner. It requires drivers to race in close proximity, with the camber favouring those who take the inside line. Overtaking around the outside is not impossible, but experienced throttle control going too wide will be the key to that success. We go to Recordimo for number 2, one of the most unnatural corners in the game, and with no help from the redefining track limits. What makes this come in at number 2 is the undesirable effect it has on a driver's consistency, making it a huge game changer, especially as the corner exit speed on the start-finish is key to defending or attacking at the Dunlop chicane. And finally, one of if not the toughest corner on one of if not the most hated tracks, it's Skyline at Bathurst. The solution to this puzzle is muscle memory, because all you see is beautiful blue skies before you dip down for the ultimate roller coaster ride. Trail braking allows the driver to straight line as much as possible, maintaining speed and setting themselves up for the rest of the mountain. Under pressure though, and under stop brakes, this is not as simple as it sounds.
Thank you so much, Mellish. Lovely to hear from you, and I will be seeing you very soon when you head over to London for the Worlds. Now, I will not be alone in hosting the Forza Racing World Championship for you. My fellow co-host, Bravo, will be joining me. I caught up with him earlier to see how he feels about next weekend and what he's most looking forward to.
Of course, yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to be back over. Of course, it's going to be a fantastic show. It'll be my first Gfinity Forza show. I've been talking to the Forza team about working with them for a long time, but to finally be able to join the team this year, meet everyone, and meet all the drivers has been amazing. So I can't wait to see. I mean, it's going to be the biggest Forza finals of all time, so it's going to be great.
Now, we've just had the Series 2 playoffs in Mexico. How was watching from the comfort of your own home? And of course, we had that incredible final race to close out the weekend too.
Yeah, I was more anxious watching from home because I think I wanted to be there so bad. But it was an amazing final. I think a few things to note. To see Box still on top of the world is or I should say, at least on the podium and in a really big way, is really exciting. A lot of people after his wins earlier this year were saying, how long can Box hold on to this? And then through last season, and then even on the podium there in Mexico, did really well. Obviously, to see Lage back on top is really a statement from him. He came up short in Seattle, and what we said in Seattle is we know Lage is going to come back with a vengeance, but when? And to see him do that so quickly here in Mexico is a big statement for him. And of course, I mean, you look at Mitch, I think he came from, what was it, I think 7th position to be able to clinch that. Did not have a great semifinals the day before.
Moving on to London, the pinnacle of the season. Brav, who takes your fancy to lift that trophy on that Sunday?
Oh man, it's hard to bet against Lage, but I think when you look at the points, it's also hard to bet against Box, right? With Box's year so far, with how close he was to Lage, with the crazy adjudication in the end, those two drivers are really who I'm looking out for in terms of the 1-2. I think a driver like Lightning, right? I think kind of holding it down for North America as best as he can, and we haven't seen really the best Lightning yet. I think he's had an ebb and flow, ups and downs this season, even in the weekly races. So I'm definitely looking for Lightning to make a statement. I think it'll be interesting to see from Mitch. I think this is a proving point for Mitch in the same way that we saw for Box. I think the Box and Lage battle will be a big one though for the 1-2.
Bravo, thank you so much for catching up with me. It has been a pleasure as always, and I cannot wait for you to get here to London so we can host Forza together. I'll see you very soon.
Yes, see you soon.
Brav, always lovely to speak to you, my fellow friend and chum, and it's going to be great having you by my side here in London as we deliver worlds together. But gentlemen, this is almost the end of the show. We're going to have to leave each other soon, but it's fine because guess what? London is just around the corner, gentlemen. It's nearly here, and our top drivers throughout the whole of the world coming together to battle it out on that racetrack and see exactly who is going to take that trophy and lift it up high. Guys, I just want to get your final thoughts now. You know, it's before London. We haven't seen anything yet, but we are expecting so much from this event. Ali, what are you looking forward to the most?
I just can't wait to see all the drivers competing for the biggest prize of the year. It's been a long old road to London. We've come through Seattle and Mexico, and the stage has never been bigger in a sense. I'm looking forward to it.
Flip, I want to ask you now, I'm going to put you on the spot. Who do you see lifting this trophy? If you could guess, who do you see taking this win?
I don't know if I could pick a name. I want to. I mean, I would love to see a THR driver up there because, you know, my team boss would kill me if I didn't pick one. So I'm going to go THR, be a team guy. But continuing on your thought, this is the World Championships. There's going to be a major esports moment. There's going to be a championship moment, and I can't wait to watch it.
Well, gents, that is going to do it. The preview show is over. It's been a pleasure having you here to talk all Forza with me. But London is nearly here, and I am so excited to find that final result. We are 10 days out, and we're going to be racing to the finish line. We'll see you on the grid.
It's a lot of talent out there.
What a series to watch. Just these moments you would never expect.
Rocking and rolling up front.
Now's the time to find your rhythm.
Can he hold on?
Once he got up front, drove very confidently. I liked what I saw from Billy Sue.
Billy Sue!
Billy Sue, hey! Just heartbreaking to see this happen.
Holding his composure. We're really in for some great racing today.